by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to a Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show here, coming to you live from the RHS TV studios here in beautiful St. Petersburg. Peter Blake is alongside me here as we embark on another day of fun and frivolity where we celebrate free speech here, defend it, and highly encourage it here on the JP Peterson Show. Welcome in. We've got lots to get to today. We did Baker Mayfield getting the starting job yesterday.
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
We got some breaking news. Right. So we'll get into that a little bit more today.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's
And then
JP.
he just kind of laid it out there like a big fat one, you know. I'm like, hey, all right, that's good to have that over with. So yeah, that was fun. So we'll get to all that sound. Damian Woody on NFL Live, which is fantastic. It's absolutely, if you're a Bucs fan, you just want them to just keep crapping on Baker Mayfield, keep crapping on the Bucs. That's what you want. That is exactly what you want, and that's what you're going to get too. So that'll be fun.
Stand by to launch
The
FanStream
Rays with a
Sports.
huge comeback last night. They're getting 8 runs, getting 8 innings,
Let's
going
start.
to Colorado
Sports
Rockies.
fans, welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
We'll hit on that Wander Franco situation, obviously getting a little deeper and murkier. But I think the move yesterday certainly tells us a little bit more about where this is heading for Wander Franco, so we'll get into that as well. Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report is going to join us as he does each and every Wednesday, and we'll move down Baker Mayfield and just basically, you know, this is the time you can really kind of dig in and feel, you know, what this team is going to look like. I don't expect any other huge additions. I don't think Jonathan Taylor's
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
the Buccaneers, although it's a little intriguing.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
We'll
Welcome to
put all that
FanStream
as
Sports.
the,
Nothing but
forward
pure
here.
sports. This
So we're
is
going
the
to jump right
JP
in.
Show.
JP,
Rays
it is so
last
good to hear
night,
you
a
back on the
12-4
air.
win
Stand by now.
over
Here's
your
JP.
Colorado Rockies, and it was a little dicey there, quite frankly, for the Rays, as Zach felt pitched pretty well. They got the lead, gave it up late, but 7th inning or 6th inning, the Rockies come back and take the 4-3 lead, and then the Rays come right back with an inning where they just Levis Pasane gets a grand slam in his first, his first grand slam, his first Major League home run is a grand slam. That's pretty nice. So, and Yanni Diaz just continues.
Stand by to launch
He
FanStream
just
Sports.
continues to make- So this is
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Wander
Welcome to
Franco left
FanStream
team.
Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the
in a
JP
row, 4
Show.
of their
JP,
last
it is
5
so good to hear
games.
you back on the air.
They need
Stand
to
by
speak to
now.
Colorado
Here's
Rockies. Quite
JP.
frankly, Baltimore lost last night, so they're only 2 games out. The hits just keep on coming. This offense, ever since Wander left, just continues to just slam it. And Wasabi's been part of it. You know, he was hitting 298 at AAA. It's not like this guy can't hit. He's a excellent player. He's not obviously in the prospect class that Wander Franco was in, but my goodness, he is playing some tremendous baseball. And this team seems to have somewhat galvanized behind the fact that Wander Franco is not here. And let me just go in a little bit more on Wander Franco here. And Mark Topkin did a really interesting piece in the Times and talked about the guys that have been put on administrative leave, and it's a very long and distinguished list of really bad actors, and it kind of gives you a clue as to where this is heading, and it's not a good place. Listen to some of these names, and what's interesting about this whole process here is a lot of the names on this list were not formally charged or even did any jail time, but they got significant suspensions from Major League Baseball. And I'm trying to find that particular list here.
But yeah, here it is. Um, and this is kind of a new thing that baseball has done. This list, it's implementing the joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. Major League Baseball has used leave to sideline players during investigations. Going back to 2016, Hector Oliveira with the Braves, 82 games, accused of assaulting women in Arlington, Virginia, arrested, found guilty of misdemeanor charge, served 10 days in jail. He got 82 games. Jose Reyes, you remember him, assaulted his wife in Hawaii, arrested, charges dismissed when the wife declined to cooperate. He got 62 games plus spring training. Roberto Osuna of the Jays, 75 games, accused of assaulting women, arrested, charges withdrawn. Domingo Germán of the Yankees got 81 games, accused of assaulting his girlfriend. No charges filed, still got 81 games. Felipe Vasquez, who we talked about, jailed because he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl, sentenced to 2 to 4 years, has not played and won't play. Julio Urias of the Dodgers got 20 games, an altercation with a woman in a parking lot, no charges filed. Abdubel Herrera of the Phillies, accused of assaulting his girlfriend, arrested, case dismissed, got 85 games. Still got 85 games. So Marcell Ozuna of the Braves got 20 games. The charges were dropped. Sterling Castro of the Nationals, 30 games, sexual assault, not charged. Trevor Bauer, which is an interesting case, accused of sexually assaulting a woman, no charges filed, got 324 games, reduced to 194. So all of these instances that we can look at, the precedent that has been set here by Major League Baseball is it doesn't matter what the legal system uncovers. So it's going to be more about Major League Baseball's investigation than what the legal system decides in the Dominican Republic that's going to determine what this suspension is. So I would guess what we're thinking is the Rays certainly know more than most other entities, I would think, about where they are in this case. And what have they done? As we always say, don't look what they say, look what they do.
Right.
They've scrubbed all their media of anything Wander Franco related. So you ask yourself, going back to the middle of this season when they made the unusual move of going to the press to disclose that Wander Franco wasn't a very good teammate, and then suspending him a month and a half later, this team is not supporting Wander Franco in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they're running from him as fast as they possibly can. Do they know more? Do they just want to get out of the contract? I don't know. We don't know those internal things. We can only look at what they're doing. And clearly they are distancing themselves from Wander Franco. So at this point, if I'm trying to read the tea leaves and I'm a Rays fan, I'm saying, I don't think Wander Franco is ever putting on a Rays uniform again.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like it. I mean, with everything that has happened at this point, and I think the key phrase is, administrative leave for no telling how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
So the longer this goes, the worse off it seems like it's going to get.
Yeah, and I guess the if there's any silver lining to this, it seems like this team is galvanized with the removal of Wander Franco, and I don't think it's any secret that he was a spur in that clubhouse.
Yeah.
No question about it. There were guys that he just didn't get along with, and maybe those guys are playing freer and better since he's been removed, and we're going to have to start considering life after Wander Franco. Now, in a very callous way, you want to say to yourself, is there going to be at least compensation that the Rays are going to be able to get for him? Will they eventually be able to trade him? That all depends on what Major League Baseball does. You look at some of the situations we just named. I don't know how many of those guys, I would say a group of them, and not Trevor Bauer, have gone on to play. I mean, Domingo Germán, obviously for the Yankees, threw a no hitter against the Rays this year.
Right.
Julio Urias of the Dodgers, Sterling Castro, Marcell Ozuna. I mean, these guys have come back to play. Now we don't know what their situations were. All the facts are different. So this list doesn't necessarily become a death knell for Wander. In fact, with the exception of the guy that went to jail.
Yeah.
Most of these guys have come back and played except for Trevor Bauer, and that's still, kind of new.
And the great TJ Reeves had this great stat last night: 61 runs since they left Wander Franco for the West Coast, and they've been 5-2. So like we talked about yesterday, it's kind of galvanized this team. Randy Arozarena is starting to hit the ball. By the way, Yandy Diaz continues to hit the ball. We talked about this off here. You can make a case any other year, if not for Shohei Ohtani.
Who gets to be runner-up to Shohei Ohtani?
Right.
MVP?
But, Diaz is definitely turning into one of the great leadoff hitters in baseball, which is a pleasant surprise. So now the Rays have a good problem on their hands because they're most likely going to have to sign him to an extension. Everything is coming together, and it certainly doesn't. Yeah.
What, we have to pay him now? Like real money?
Well, I hope so. I mean,
no.
right. Oh, no, right? That's where the sound effects come in.
Oh, no.
Wah, 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 wah.
Where are we trading him to? By the way, Francisco Mejia has been designated for assignment. How's that Blake Snell trade looking right about now?
Not good at all.
Like a disaster.
I never liked the trade in the first place.
From the very beginning. Yeah.
Never. To me, it was all done off emotion.
And money.
And money.
Yep. And why you dismantle a pitching staff that took you to the World Series, I have no idea.
Right.
But whatever. Not a great return. This team obviously has done very well in many, many trades, but that one did not work out so well.
You mean Luis Patino didn't work out?
And we sold him for cash.
Because when I put
how's that grab you?
When I put that on social media, everybody's like, how could you doubt the Rays? They never do any wrong. Really? They just did. They
make
plenty
mistakes.
of wrong.
Which doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. What we're saying is this particular move did not work out. And from the very beginning, the whole concept of not bringing back Charlie Morton and dismantling, and Charlie and Blake Snell, just, that's why the Rays will never, I shouldn't say never win a World Series, but with this ownership group are going to be very, very challenged to win a World Series because they just refuse to spend money that they have and can spend. And they're always about this, and it sucks because we love watching this team play.
We do.
The people on the baseball side are just kicking ass.
If you could just spend mid to baseball level, because there has not been a team since 2003, the Florida Marlins, 26th in spending in baseball, and they won the World Series. Everybody else after that, you have to spend at least midway. That means you have to spend at least over $100 million in order to win a World Series.
And
even the Kansas City Royals in 2015 with, by the way, who? Ben Zobrist, Wade Davis, went all in over $100 million, win a World Series. Will the Rays do that one of these days? I don't know. If they get a new stadium, will they do it? Should they enact a contract that if the fans and the community gives them a new stadium, that they have to at least spend to a salary floor? I'm serious about this, a fan clause. Why not?
Yeah, if we're going to give you $600 million to build a stadium, you have to ensure that your payroll will be at least $100 million.
Right.
By the way, league average is 166, and the Rays, you look at active payroll, you look at player costs. The Rays comparatively are about 70 million this year. Have never reached 90 million. I think their top was 82 million. So yeah, they're not even close to average, and they make plenty of money. By the way, folks, don't believe that ridiculous, stupid lie that they don't have the money. Go look at the lawsuit. They got plenty of money. So yeah, that's not a thing. Baseball teams make a lot of money. That's not just about selling tickets. So they've got, especially when you keep your payroll that low, you're banking tens and tens of millions of dollars in profit each and every year. All right, so we have Kevin Cash from last night talking about this great comeback win.
Yes.
And some real bright spots in the lineup all the way across as they just continue. And by the way, the meltdown by the Rockies. You just absolutely drop a ball right in your glove in left field. Awful. A tailor-made double play that the shortstop says, I think I should flip it to the second baseman instead. Just a clown show. And the pitcher and Barr who came in who couldn't freaking hit the broadside of a barn and almost killed Jose Siri. It's like that team is not good. All right, let's hear.
You came in and just layered on the runs. What stood out about the at-bats that you saw there?
Siri getting on base to start it. That was huge. And then CB coming in ready to hit to get the first one across. And then it just kind of opened up with a bunch of good at-bats. Randy really hung in there and smoked that ball to left. And then Basabe, congrats to him. That was pretty cool moment for him.
I was going to say, pretty cool moment seeing him get his first home run and it be a grand slam.
Yeah, I'm guessing that doesn't happen very often. Mark will probably tell me tomorrow how many times it's happened in a Rays uniform. But look, he's had a lot of good at bats. He really has. He's very competitive up there. He can beat you at all fields. The power is something maybe we haven't seen quite yet, but he showed it off today. Certainly shows that he can hit balls in the gaps and doubles down the line, and now got a breaking ball that he drove just out of the ballpark.
And then Yandy Diaz with the bases loaded, he seemed to get just enough of that fastball, just doing what Yandy Diaz does and delivering it.
Yeah, he's got a knack for putting the ball in play, finding holes. He's such a good hitter. Even gets behind in the count, and there's just so much confidence while he's at the plate with himself, and so much confidence that we have in him that the trust that he's going to be able to get it done, and he did again.
And you guys have got to be pretty happy with what you've seen from Basabe overall, given the lack of AAA time, really, even before he got here.
Yeah, he's played very, very well. He's picked us up in a really big way. Kind of sitting in the middle of the lineup, putting a lot of balls in play, and he's doing some good things defensively. And I feel like he's improving every day. He's working hard.
In the lineup overall, you guys scored at least 6 in 8 of your last 10. I feel like things are kind of coming together for you?
It feels that way. I mean, look, tonight was a little quiet. I mean, I felt like we had guys on base. We weren't able to capitalize for most of the game, and then whatever we didn't do for the first 6, 7 innings, we made up for it in the 8th.
What do you think of Littell?
Same. Looks really good. I mean, really, really efficient. I mean, strike throwing machine. They came out that 6th inning and got him quick to make it first and third or first and second, whatever it was. But very, very impressed with.
Gosh, that was a great offensive explosion. He mentioned the Randy at bat. I think he went 9 pitches and was just fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch till he got one. Yandy Diaz with a great at bat, great hitting. All these guys are just really returning to that form that we saw in the beginning of this season, and it's fun to watch when they start ringing up. Now, again, against elite pitching, they have struggled. Everybody does, right? But
right. That's why it's elite pitching.
Yeah, exactly.
In the first
that's why
place.
they call it elite pitching.
Right.
But that's what they're going to see in the playoffs.
That's
for
it.
The most part. So
that's it. Can they score enough runs? And then on top of it, Zach Littell, who, look, they seem like they found something in this guy because he was
they always do.
Right. He was a bullpen, a scrap heap, and now he's giving them 5, 6 quality starts there. He even talked about it in the presser. He's keeping them in the game. That's exactly what you need from your pitcher, because we know that sometimes this team has a problem, but when they score over 4 runs, more times than not, they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
They're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Now, if you score less, then, your pitcher has to basically pitch a masterpiece, or more times than not, you're going to lose. With something like 9 wins this year when they score 3 runs or less.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
No.
But, it's pretty much the way it is with a lot of teams, but, we especially I think that 4-run number is magic for this team. All right, a couple other little things. I want to get interesting comment on the stadium. We'll get to that.
Because I'm new, you can go ahead and trash on me, but with the great intricacies of StreamYard, we wanted an intro today. Well, you said you wanted to play an intro.
Yeah.
Well, you played the intro over and over again. So thanks a lot, StreamYard.
It just kept going.
Just kept on going and going and going. Like
we didn't hear it in our heads.
I didn't hear it either. And then I get a call, and then you got comments.
Well, thank you guys for commenting, because that's how we know how to fix it. It's weird because we can't hear it in our headsets. It sounds perfect.
Right.
But what's going out over, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for that. We'll edit that out as we hopefully. All right. James says it seems like the players are playing better now the Wander's gone. That's all you need to know. Yeah, absolutely. I think that tells you where they were in this clubhouse. Jordan G says should have traded Franco while we could. Cash wasn't a big fan of him from the beginning, despite his talents. Maybe they thought it was a maturity issue, but obviously he's just a punk. Meanwhile, a comparable in the league, Julio Rodriguez, is growing up before our eyes with what Seattle and what Franco should and could have been. It's a great point. It's absolutely a great point.
Yeah.
And it's all about maturity. It has nothing to do with the talent, rather, right?
And you give him $4 million when he's 16 years old. And if he's immature already, how much more immature is he going to become? Because you condition that. And I get it. That's the way baseball is and international rules. But you got to think, we talked about it yesterday, the mentor on this team has to be there somewhere. And it's not here. And it hasn't been in his life, obviously. And again, not convicting him, but it seems like even if he's not guilty, he's still putting himself in these situations. And I always ask this on my show and other shows, what's the priority? Do you want to be a Major League Baseball player? Do you want to make millions of dollars? Do you want to make elite money? Or do you want to continue to put yourself in situations where you're a target for not only social media, but everybody else? What's the priority, JP? What is it?
Well, I think clearly from the beginning with him, it was about being famous, being a big shot, spending the money, showing the bling, and all those things. And those are outward things where you don't want to judge a book by its cover.
Right.
But they show you some immaturity. If you're walking around with $400,000 worth of jewelry and putting it in your car, not real smart, bro. Not real smart. Not not having it's not smart.
Nope.
And you can debate the even the idea of buying all that stuff at your particular age, but again, it's when it comes to this, when then it manifests itself in what may be illegal behavior and disgusting behavior, it's not good.
No,
it's not good.
And it's multiple allegations. It's not just one, it's multiple.
And the ramifications of what it does to this franchise are just as Jordan pointed out. Julio Rodriguez, where's he going to take Seattle? And Wander Franco?
Right.
There may be a situation where the Rays get nothing for his talent that they've developed and invested in and scouted. I mean, when you find these guys, these are things that change the fortunes of franchises. And the Rays were well on their way to having that. And then, wow. And as Michael Raper put, this will be this curious name will be the cycle with Stu.
Jeez.
We need a Vinnick style guy to come in and save the team. Oh man, do we ever, bro?
Vinnick interested? Because you got you're kind of close to that organization a little bit. Is he interested?
I think at one time he was.
Yeah.
But, Stu has always been a guy that, just very much in the way that they've managed his team. Unless they can absolutely, destroy a team in a trade, then they don't want to make the deal. And in his business deals, unless he can make, a ridiculous amount. Just go look at his counter proposal to the city of St. Petersburg when they were doing their negotiations. You're supposed to get 50% of the proceeds. His counter proposal was, I want 100 or 90% or 100% of 60% of the land. I mean, just a ridiculous counter proposal, which is not bargaining in good faith.
Right.
And once again, delaying a project that should have been well underway under Rick Kreisman, giving thousands of jobs, high-paying jobs to the people of St. Petersburg. It could have been well underway. Building a stadium in Tampa would have been thousands of high-paying jobs for the people in Tampa. It could have been a boon for this entire area. Probably already be in the stadium right by now.
Right.
But instead, he's chosen to not bargain in good faith and do things like that. And that's the way he's been in business. And I think Jeffrey Vinnick smelled that and said, I want no part of that.
Right.
I'm a community-minded owner. I pour back into the community. I partner with the community. I don't steal from the community.
That's the difference.
And lie to the community. I work with the community.
Right.
I give $50,000
right.
a game, even during COVID, where there are no fans, to local charities. And these are.
That's the difference between Jeff Vinnick
and the Rays official, asked me 10 years ago when I mentioned that maybe that should be something that Stu should be interested in doing, partnering with the community. He said, laughed and went, let's see how long that lasts with Vinnick. Well, it's been 11 years now.
Well, yeah,
that's how long it's lasted, and the money still keeps coming. And look what happened.
Well, he endeared himself to the fans.
300 consecutive sellouts or whatever it is for the Lightning. Hockey has a much bigger fan base, or I shouldn't say bigger fan base because the Rays have bigger television numbers, but dedicated fan base that go to the games.
Right.
That's what Jeffrey Vinnick has cultivated by partnering with the community, giving back to the community, not lying about the community, not stealing from the community. It's amazing how that works.
Not blackmailing the community.
Yeah,
by saying every year we're about to change stadiums, we're about to relocate. If we don't get a new stadium, if I can't sustain, I mean, how would you like it if you're making $32,000 to $35,000, maybe even less than that right now? The way things are going.
Which is the median income in Tampa Bay.
Right. You're making that, and you're listening to a multi-million-dollar owner say in so many words, "I can't sustain. If you don't build me a new stadium, I'm taking my ball."
It's not a major league market.
Right.
But suddenly it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Why?
Now
because he's endeared himself. Because
Major League Baseball told him he's not going anywhere.
Right.
You got to get a stadium deal done there. Your stupid sister city plan is crap. It's never
Horrible.
going to work. Was never going to work.
Horrible.
So you got to stay in that market because we're not leaving that market and get a stadium deal done. But Major League Baseball, I think, has now understood what Stu's been doing. It's not in the best interest of the rest of the owners who continue to give him revenue sharing money. And I think now they've pretty much taken over this process. That's my gut feeling. I'm not reporting that. That's my gut feeling from the people I've talked to within the process. I think the sale of this team is imminent within the year. And I think that's going to lead to a stadium deal in Tampa, which is where the long-term money is, which is what Major League Baseball and the other owners are interested in, not a short-term gain where the owner can do a deal in St. Petersburg, leave a horribly located stadium, a failed location stadium as they're dealing with in Miami. And Major League Baseball is not going to make that mistake again. So that to me, unless Stu is able to force something that the rest of these owners don't want, which of course they have to sign off on everything, then that's where I think it's headed. Now that's good for the Rays. That's great for the Rays. New ownership, stadium in Tampa is the way that we move forward like the Braves did. If the template is already there, no reason to, everybody is going towards this template. It's working in many other communities, and it's in no place it would work better than Tampa. Quite frankly.
But it's about redevelopment money.
Right.
He knows he's going to get the redevelopment money from St. Pete.
He's still going to walk with over $1 billion in profit.
It's not enough.
It's not enough for this
guy. Because you remember the comments, well, if I can get the naming rights, maybe I'll come in at 250. It's like, how about come in halfway? If you want a nearly $1 billion stadium to be built, come in halfway, do something.
And you're still going to make so much money, but it's not enough.
There's a great comment here. I got to read this one. Stu is the psycho spouse threatening to leave all the time, but doesn't have the guts to do it. Exactly. And the city of St. Pete and Tampa knows this. They know that he's looking at other places. They know that he's
can't move it. He's not moving it.
But he's trying to wine and dine. So that's the reason why a lot of fans have stayed home throughout the years. I don't blame them because it's expensive. It's expensive to go to a baseball game. You have to pay for parking. You have to pay for concessions. Hell, you have to, be in a traffic jam sometimes, which I was in last night, which is ridiculous. Yes.
Oh, all the time in that location.
Yeah.
Lonnie says, do you think the Rays were aware of these things, hence why they cracked the whip on him earlier this season? Absolutely. Yeah, I've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah.
It's and from the day that it happened, it was a very unusual move for a club to go to the media and disclose things that are happening inside your clubhouse that are untoward, him being a bad teammate. That was weird. So yeah, I think they started to get an inkling of that at that particular time. This one, total speculation, Richie P, but it would not surprise me to see Vinnick let this thing play out and then swoop in and close the deal for the Rays. I don't think that's happening. I think that he bowed out a long time ago and moved forward. Although it's interesting that Vinnick in his moves, selling off a piece of the Lightning, selling off some other interests, that looks like, and he's not moving. He bought the penthouse downtown in Water Street.
Sure.
That it looked like he's raising cash and capital to do something. Mm-hmm. So maybe he would be part of a new Rays ownership group, or at least part of the development of a new battery style in Ybor City along with Darryl Shaw. So he may not necessarily be a owner of the team, but a development partner. I mean, why wouldn't he do that since he developed everything around it? Why would you want a competitor to come in and make more money in that development area, which you've already invested $3 billion, you and Bill Gates? So the Water Street, that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. If I'm just following the money. Again, I have no inside information whatsoever on any of this. I'm just looking at it from a money standpoint. So yeah, maybe. And that would be great. That would be great. Because that I think would just be a home run for him to be part of it in any way.
Go to this one right here, James.
Oh yeah, go ahead. MLB owners Nick's sister city, but they knew he's a bad owner. Yeah, they know now. I think they know. I think for a long time they were, just listening to what he was telling them about the stadium issues and everything else, and blaming. Manfred would come out and blame the market, from time to time, and now I think we see through the marketing of the team this year. Attendance is up, I think 25 or 4 or 5,000. So that's
54% the last time I checked.
That's at one point. So I think it's been up dramatically this year when they started, actually marketing the team and bringing prices down. shocking development.
Yes, and they brought back the concerts too, by the way.
Yeah, a lot
which
of
is
stuff
which is
that
cool.
worked.
Which is actually pretty cool.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the Bucs as Scott Reynolds will join us here from Pewter Report, and we'll get his take on the Baker Mayfield being named the starter and what he's seen so far in all this preseason. So stay with us. Back in 3. For the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES, call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244. Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fan Stream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we roll on here, nice conversation about the Rays. And we're going to get into the Buccaneers here in just a second as Scott Reynolds is going to join us. We just sent him a link a little bit late, so he'll pop up here in just a second. We'll get him on. But thanks, guys, for commenting on the Wander Franco situation and the Rays as they are now. And again, I really believe that this is going to end up well for the Rays. We're going to have a new ownership group and hopefully a new stadium in Tampa. If something goes horribly wrong, it could happen in St. Pete. But I think we heard a couple of months ago, and Ken Hagan came on the show that Hillsborough would be putting out the more detailed proposal. I think that's coming soon, but I think everything's kind of been delayed because of a renewed interest in the purchase of the team. And obviously, wherever the stadium is going to be, whoever is purchasing the team will have a huge say, or should have a huge say in what happens there. So I think this is, as it has slowed down a little bit, the news, I think this is a good thing because things are happening behind the scenes that should be happening. So that's good. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the What's up, my friend? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Were you in the press conference yesterday when starting quarter? I don't think that was
Was I there at the press conference? I was not, but certainly not any big surprise when it came to the news, right? I mean, we knew it was going to be Baker Mayfield. Well, Todd Bowles has his own style, I guess. Yeah, we've known about it for quite a while now, and it certainly has been something that we've expected. Baker Mayfield really had to lose this job for Kyle Trask to win it. It all came down to experience, and if Kyle Trask was going to be the guy that was going to beat Baker Mayfield, then he had to make sure that he came out and won the job. That means more touchdowns, fewer interceptions, and Baker really had to kind of screw up. So I think that was the issue there.
No, I talked yesterday about this. Baker Mayfield has back, and I think we discussed it. But it might be a good time to renew it. Hearing from Baker the other day, he's got that chip on his shoulder. I think the team has a chip on his shoulder. So I think very that energy moving forward.
Well, I mean, Baker Mayfield has got leadership qualities, and I think it's important for this quarterback race to be settled now, because then he is going to have some time, really 3 weeks, call it 3 weeks, to get ready for the opening season, taking those starter reps, not just in the game on Saturday with the starters because they're going to play, but also just making sure in practice that it kind of skews now towards Baker, right? Whether that's 55% of the reps, 65% of the reps, whatever that number is that Dave Canales is going to feed his starter. Baker is taking more of those reps now for sure.
All right, when you look at other portions of this team, the wide receivers, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far in camp?
I'm one of these people. I don't think Russell Gage, I wasn't expecting a bunch from him, to be honest. I really wasn't. I thought that at some point in time, Trey Palmer was going to take over as that number 3 wide receiver. Right. And let's just get that out of the way now. I don't mean any ill will towards Russell Gage. It stinks for him that he got hurt, but it is what it is. Trey Palmer is a better receiver than Russell Gage. And Russell Gage was stymied with that hamstring injury all last year. It bothered him again this year. The guy, unfortunately, in Tampa has been an injury waiting to happen. And it happened. And so now it's Trey Palmer time. And I think Devin Tompkins, Raheem Jarrett, David Moore, that's going to round out the receiving core. So you've got in David Moore, a guy that's caught 13 touchdown passes in this league. He spent 4 years in this offense in Seattle. To me, he's the veteran, right? He's probably the better version of Rashad Perryman, right? In this offense. And so when you look at having him as that other guy, in case Chris or Mike miss a game or two due to injury, he can step into a starting role. He's going to been there and done that. It is a step down. David Moore is not a starting caliber receiver, but he has experience.
Mhm.
Trey Palmer, with every rep on that field, is getting more experience. He's a pretty dynamic guy. And then you factor in Raheem Jarrett, who really stepped up huge with 3 catches, 84 yards in his preseason debut. And Devin Tompkins, who I know a lot of fans want him to be the third wide receiver. He's 5'7", 150 pounds. You can't force feed him 50, 60 reps and have him survive out there. He's just not big enough. He is a gadget type player. If you get 30 catches from him for this year, that's great, because he's probably going to be averaging around 18 yards per catch. He's got run after catch ability. He can do the end arounds, the receiver screens, all that stuff. And I like this receiving core. It's young, but there's some real talent here.
Got Reynolds report going this year.
Slot receiver. Big
Yeah, there's not going to be any slot receiver spot in Tampa. Matter of fact, there's probably not going to be a true number 3 wide receiver. I think Chris and Mike are the starters. You're going to see Dave Canales play, David Moore, Raheem Jarrett, Devin Tompkins, and of course Trey Palmer. Those guys are going to be rotated into the offense, and I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. Those guys will play in the slot. So will Mike, and so will Chris. If you go look at Seattle's offense, Tyler Lockett plays in the slot. DK Metcalf plays in the slot. So the receivers in this offense are kind of, you're either an X like Mike Evans is, which is that split end position, or you're a Z and you play flanker, which is what Chris Godwin is. And then you're also a slot. So Mike knows the slot and the X. Chris knows the flanker and the slot. And I think that's what you're going to see from these other receivers is they're going to be rotating guys in there. You're not going to have a slot receiver like Chris Godwin was in this Bruce Arians offense, and that's kind of his role. You're going to see these receivers bounce all around the field, and that's going to make it easier for the Buccaneers receivers, whether it's Evans or Godwin or whoever, to escape double teams and mess up some of their coverage plans, right? Because if Mike's always out there on the weak side of the formation, playing that split end, playing the next receiver, it's easy to sit there and say, we got a corner underneath, a safety over the top, we'll bracket him and take that away. Now all of a sudden he's in the slot. Okay, now you have a nickel on Mike, right? Or a linebacker with the safety over the top, right? So I like what Dave Canales is going to do. He's going to move these receivers all over and play Mike in the slot a lot more this year.
Why that works.
He's a playmaker.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, JP. Your audio is going in and out for some reason here.
Sorry. Nickelback.
Yeah, Nickelback. I think it's going to be D. Delaney's job. I believe that he is that veteran presence. You look at the snap counts. This is really a 4-2-5 defense when you really look at the number of snaps that they play in nickel. And the 2 linebackers, of course, are Devin White and Levante David. They will run a 3-4 scheme when offenses are in, say, 2 or 3 tight end sets. That's Bowles' base defense. But when we say base defense, he really plays nickel more than anything because most teams go to 3 or 4 wide receivers at this day and age, especially the ones with quarterbacks. And in that case, you got to have nickel on the field. Chris Isian, I think at some point, it can be a dynamic playmaker. I think he eventually gets that job, but to start the season is D. Delaney. As Todd Bowles said, the ball just happens to find him. He's got a couple years of experience in this offense. We saw what he was able to do Saturday night with a nice shoestring interception. Then he had another interception in the fourth quarter that was negated by an offside penalty, or maybe it was a defensive holding penalty. But D. Delaney's been there and done that. And I think that he has the trust of Coach Bowles. He can play outside corner in a pinch. He can play either safety spot in a pinch. I think he's proven he can be a nickel. So he's going to get the first crack at the position. And I think that Christian Izzian's probably going to be pressuring him throughout the year.
You're what this roster is going to look like. You're still confident in for
I think so. And that's not just what the Buccaneers have done with their roster. It's what the other teams maybe haven't done. The Falcons have spent a lot of money, and sometimes that works out. Go back to the 2002 Buccaneers when John Gruden imported a bunch of free agents, and it worked out. Jason Light kind of did that in 2020, bringing in Brady, bringing in Leonard Fournette, trading for Gronkowski, right? Sometimes those additions can really pan out if it all comes together and gels. Last year, look at some of those signings, right? You had Akeem Hicks, didn't pan out. You had the big tight end, Kyle, forgetting his last name. He didn't pan out. Julio Jones didn't pan out. So when you have other guys that you're signing, sometimes those signings work out and it all gels and it makes your roster better. Sometimes just spending money doesn't. I mean, go back to 2014 as a prime example. Josh McCown, Anthony Collins, Michael Johnson, Clint McDonald, who is probably the best free agent signing of them all. And he was a kind of a reserve defensive tackle, So sometimes when you lay out the cash, it works. You can buy a good football team. And sometimes when you just spend money, and the Falcons have done that, and we'll see if it all comes together because you're building a team. You're not just signing players. They all have to come together. And I think every team improved, right? Each team is going to have draft picks that they hit on. But I'm not really wowed by the coaching of Dennis Allen. I'm not really wowed by the coaching of Arthur Smith, to be honest. And I think Frank Reich's a good coach. He's going to have the least talented roster with a rookie quarterback. It's going to take some time for the Panthers to contend, and we'll see if they end up ever doing it. Todd Bowles has his critics amongst Bucs fans. I get that. Some people think he's not a good coach. Okay, well, show me who's better in this division. Maybe Frank Reich, okay, but not with that roster in Carolina. Not this year, not right now.
Appreciate it.
Well, you can find out all of our stories, including this content coming up on Saturday night on pewterreport.com. And that's the mothership. We've got another podcast coming today at 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. That is going to be focused on my predictions for the Bucs 53-man roster, which that story is coming out later today on pewterreport.com. Make sure you're subscribing to Pewter Report TV on our YouTube channel and help us grow that. And you can also find us on social media. We're talking about X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. Thanks, JP.
Scotty as well. We apologize for that. We're going to try to get it right here in just a second. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll hear from Todd Bowles and some of the shenanigans that went on yesterday at One Buck Place and much more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. And they will give you the personal attention you so richly deserve. So check them out at jeeveslawgroup.com and Bay Area Model Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo is my primary physician. Make him yours as well. Go to BAMMC.com to get your appointment. Back in 3. Stay with us. Old coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't. So check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rate, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Those great folks who saved me $1,000 on my auto insurance. They do all the work, folks. All you got to do is call them at 813-877-7799. My good friend Charity there that does a lot of the pricing of the insurance. She stayed till 9:30 at night to get my insurance done because it needed to be binded by that particular night. That's what they do. They give you great customer service. You actually have a human being that you try that with some of these bigger companies calling in and getting a human being on the line who can actually react to you. And they will search a bunch of different companies, not just one. So that's where you get the great advantage. There's a lot of companies that drop rates to get more business at certain times. So they'll be able to get that done for you. And they're going to put you with a company that they know is going to pay out and that you can trust, which is a problem these days with some homeowners insurance companies. So go with Italiano Insurance. They've been doing it in this market for over 60 years, folks, down in Boca Grande and, of course, up in the Tampa Bay area. 813-877-7799 and tell them JP sent you. Yeah, listen, I what Scott said, I usually am in lockstep agreement with him. And I think coaching obviously goes a long way in this particular league. I mean, you can see it every year when you got similar rosters like in Jacksonville and a competent coach comes in and takes over for an incompetent one. And Dennis Allen in New Orleans has not distinguished himself. Well, and Todd Bowles has not either. So it's time for both of these coaches to show what they can do. And I think a year removed from, replacing guys that won Super Bowls, you get a little bit more control. You get a little bit more aggressive as a coach, and you're able to show what you want to do. And I think for Todd Bowles, that's this year. And hopefully it will be different than it was last year. Again, I put this disclaimer out there all the time. I love Todd Bowles as a man. He's an awesome dude. I just think in a lot of ways he's mismanaged this training camp with the starters on the offensive line. I know he answered that question yesterday talking about, they've had a lot of reps in practice. Practice is not the game time situation. Practice is very controlled. Practice is, what you're dealing with on the other line of scrimmage for the most part. Games are different. And that's where you can evaluate them in preseason. That's why there are preseason games. And you're going to go into a Minnesota game having worked one half of this offensive line together. I think that's criminal negligence when it comes to preparing your team. And in training camp, I went to a lot of these practices and they spend the first hour and 15, 20 minutes doing individual work. And then it's about 45 minutes to an hour of teamwork. I don't know if that's enough.
How much do you play them against Baltimore? Do you play them
at least a half?
A half? Do you play them into the third quarter? Does it come down to a situation where you're like the Kansas City Chiefs, where you try to play your starters as much as you can and hope, knock on wood, that you don't have any injuries at the end of the day? Because again, the number one priority is what? To keep everybody healthy. And already
the number one priority is to win.
Right.
Is to prepare your team to win.
Right.
In the regular season.
But if you have those injuries, there's going to be more of a likelihood that you're not going to win.
True.
So that's the key at this point. And
it's a fine line.
Right.
But, with an experienced team,
right,
I would keep my starters out.
Right.
With a young, inexperienced team like the Bucs now have, I'm playing my starters to get them ready for week 1 and week 2 and week 3. I mean, I get it. It's a fine line, but you also have to, it's football. It's a collision sport. Guys are going to get injured, and you got to deal with it. I think if you don't play your starters and you don't practice and you don't get more execution and evaluation time, I think you're ensuring the fact that you're going to start slow and not be ready for week 1. So I'd rather take the chance to get my guys ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting there, telling you go out and play your starters for a whole game. This offensive line has not played one snap together in a preseason game. Not one.
Yeah. That's telling in itself. And for a team that has lots of question marks, of course, going back to the offensive line, Ryan Jensen, the story came out yesterday.
We need to talk about that.
From Joe Bucs fan, saying that, there's a likelihood not only he's not going to start week 1, but it may be career ending. Like that's the sense around, that's what they're saying. You don't know, but everything that you've seen at this point, everything that you've heard at this point has not been good. He hasn't practiced one time.
He's practiced. He just hasn't practiced in team setting.
Okay.
He hasn't practiced 11 on 11, but he's done individual work. But he's been off for a week. I don't think he's done any individual work for at least a week, 10 days. And maybe this is part of the protocol. And, judging from Todd Bowles' answer yesterday, there's a lot of indecision. There's a lot they don't know. I think at some point they're going to have to get him out there and let him go and see what happens, because nobody knows. Again, this is stem cell treatment that he chose. It's never been done before to repair partially torn or torn ligaments in the NFL. He's the first one to try it. It worked well enough for him to get out and play in a playoff game, which he did. And since said he probably shouldn't have done that. So are there regrets? And as far as him, not coming back, he can go have traditional surgery and repair the knee that way, and also use stem cells and come back next year. I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be an option, unless there's something I don't know, unless the knee is so damaged that that's not an option, but it would seem to be an option. So he could come back and play next year, even if he went and did traditional surgery right now. So I don't think, unless he has expressed to them he doesn't want to go that route, then it's, to me, it's all up to Ryan Jensen whether he's going to be able to come back or not. But this year seems very unlikely. All the more reason that these guys should have been practicing together as a unit since
who's your starting center at this point?
In
If
games,
it's not Ryan
by the way.
Jensen, right?
It's Robert Hainsey, obviously,
Well,
the guy who started last year.
There
all
you
this.
go.
I mean, it's not, at least you have a guy who started last year, and PFF ranked him in kind of the middle. I think he was ranked right in the middle, 15th at the top centers. So it's not horrible. It's
Right.
not, Ryan Jensen was an elite center. So that's what you would want. That would make this offensive line, which I was counting on. When I was evaluating this team, I was counting on Ryan Jensen being the center of this football team. I figured if he played in a playoff game, he would be, much further along in his rehabilitation when he got to the beginning of the season. Clearly, there has been a setback in that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of I don't know. And when there's I don't know, I would put the guy Robert Hainsey. I would think that you would want him out there directing this team when the lights are on in the preseason. So, but they've chosen to go another way. And this is, the
hopefully it doesn't lead to a slow start, because that's what you're kind of worried about. And with the new offense, you know this all too well. When you have a new system, now you have a new quarterback and you have an offensive line, you can't afford to get off to a slow start, because you have the Minnesota Vikings who maybe you get a break because their defense isn't that good at this point. But
it'll be better this year.
You have to get off to a good start. And right now, you're not sure if they're going to be able to do that because of the way what you just talked about. Todd Bowles has put them in a situation where you're not ready. You're not prepared. And let's face it, last year, like you talked about yesterday, Dallas to Dallas, did this team get better? No, they got worse. Well, who's that on? That's on the preparation of the coach. The coach has to get them ready.
Yeah.
And he's got his other coaching staff now. He hired his own offensive guys. He's got his new offensive system. The pressure is on him. If he doesn't have this team prepared to play, then they're in big trouble. And they got to get off to a good start. You talked about it, 2-2, at least 2-2. If you're 1-3, if you're 0-4, then you're starting to talk about Kyle Trask coming in. You have a quarterback controversy.
Replacing the coach,
fan base again.
First overall pick.
Caleb Williams, Drake May. Let's all get excited about a quarterback we have no freaking idea is going to work out. Everybody just assumes you get a number one pick and he's all of a sudden going to be Patrick Mahomes or he's going to be Josh Allen.
Again, doesn't always work that way.
It doesn't.
Those guys weren't number one picks. All right, let's get to Todd Bowles yesterday. So this is from the press conference, and this is Lee DeCamper from Joe Bucs fan asking the question. I think he even prefaces it by saying, "I know you're not going to tell us who the starting quarterback is." And I'm not putting this on Lee. I just think I'm sure they all were a little shocked when he came out with this answer. It was kind of a hush went over the room. It's like, did he just say that?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's play the audio from yesterday.
All right.
Quarterbacks, obviously, you're not announcing starters soon. Is it fair to say it's a close race?
Baker's our starting quarterback. Kyle's number 2.
Talk about, I know you know your staff, just what were the factors that went into that decision and why you thought Baker did the job?
I mean, Rick, there's a lot that goes into it. I can't sit up here and give you every detail. We go through mini camp, training camp, and OTAs, and we love everything Kyle has done. And he's gotten leaps and bounds better than he has in the spring, and he's continuing to get better, and we're excited about him. Baker's our guy right now, experience-wise and understanding the playbook just a little bit better. But Kyle's on the come, but we like both guys. We like where we're at. Baker's 1, Kyle's 2.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's just kind of a funny moment. And, again, I think we all knew this moment was coming, maybe from the original signing of Baker Mayfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, I still believe that the coaching staff did the right thing in having this quarterback competition, because I think it got Kyle Trask ready to play. And you're going to need Kyle Trask this year. I still believe wholeheartedly that, Baker, as I said yesterday, Baker Mayfield plays this game very recklessly. He loves the competition. He's going to run through a wall if he needs to get that first down or get that touchdown. And that has led to injuries. He ain't the biggest guy in the world. So I think you need it. And I think this quarterback the competition was good in that. And this coaching staff did the right thing in preparing Kyle Trask to play. And I think what we saw last week, although I'm not going to go gaga about him ripping up a third string Jets secondary last week in the second half. In the first half, he was good. He wasn't great. Second half, I thought he was great. But he showed mobility. He showed the ability to run the team. He showed he looked like an NFL starting quarterback. The throws looked that way. The decisions looked that way. The elusiveness looked that way. I mean, that Lamar Jackson shake that he put on that dude, that was good. Right. That's good stuff. So I think you go into this, and I don't think they're done developing Kyle Trask. I think they're going to get Baker Mayfield ready. But I think there's also going to be an eye towards, I'm not saying you're giving, 60% of the reps to Baker Mayfield and 40 to Kyle Trask, but I think there might be 75-25, just to keep him working with the ones, keep him ready if something were to happen, or if Baker were to be ineffective, you've got a guy that's been working with the ones in the first few weeks and not just been sitting on the bench running the scout team. So I think they played it that way. I mean, there are some that say they shouldn't have had a quarterback competition. I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. I think you needed to see what Kyle Trask could deliver. And if you'd have just said right away, Baker's the guy, I think it changes the whole dynamic for the way all the players work and the team around them. So I think they played that well. They've named the starter now. Now let's get Baker ready. Keep Kyle Trask developing, and let's get this offense as a whole working together. And we're going to see that Saturday night. And I'm anxious to see it against the Ravens.
And I think that's why he fits this offense perfectly, because, again, you're going to emphasize the run. You're going to hopefully cut down on all those throws, all that decision-making. And because you have a conservative – right, for Baker.
Yeah.
Because we know that Baker can make all the throws, but also we know that Baker can make all the throws to the other team. So that's what a lot of fans are worried about. And just putting on social media yesterday – what do you think about it? And it's such a lightning rod of controversy where everybody's like 5-12, or here we come 2-15. There's really no positive. There's maybe like 3 fans on the page that I put it on, my Facebook page, 3 fans that were actually positive about it. Everybody else is so down on it. And I'm thinking, okay, you want Kyle Trask. Let me get this straight. You want Kyle Trask, whether it's your Gator allegiance or whatever else, who has 9 throws total in the National Football League, to start a team with a new offense, and you think you're going to actually be better than with the quarterback that started 69 games.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but it's almost like the Jameis Winston effect all over again. It's such a lightning rod of controversy, but it's going just one way at this point.
Well, I think the fans that think this is a bad idea are probably Kyle Trask sycophants.
Yeah.
I get that. I don't. There's nothing. Kyle Trask is not
Trask Force, Trask Guides, whatever you call them.
Yeah, I don't think that they. You can't objectively say that he's outplayed Baker Mayfield. You're just counting interceptions in training camp, folks. I've been to training camp. You got to have context within all of those interceptions. That's not the way. That's not the way evaluations work. There's so much more that goes into it. I mean, you don't know how many times Kyle got into a bad check here or a bad check there or through this pass. You don't know. The coaches evaluate all that stuff. I don't know that stuff either, quite frankly. So the coaches evaluate all that stuff. And I just think if you're a Trask person, you should say, you know what? He's shown that he can play in this league. And you're going to see him. Trust me. He will get his opportunity this year. And if he doesn't get an opportunity this year, that means Baker Mayfield is ripping it up. Mm-hmm. And if you're a true Bucs fan, you don't care who the quarterback is if your team is winning. Right. So let's just chill on that and let's see how this all plays out. I think we got more things to worry about than like the offensive line, like the management of the team by Todd Bowles within the game. I mean, to me, this, why the national media is down on Tampa Bay. And this is the number one, Tom Brady's not here anymore. And there's a ridiculous notion that if Brady can only get 8 wins with this team, what's Baker Mayfield going to get? It's not that simple, folks. That is a naive and ridiculous take, and it's a typical national media take for people who don't know what's happening or what happened last year. A lot of people just think, oh, the Tom Brady, all those shit around him. No, Tom Brady was a major part of the issue last year. It was dysfunctional. The whole damn thing was. We've talked about that. So that's number one. And number two, nobody believes in Todd Bowles as a coach. And honestly, as much as I love him, why would they? If you're a national person, you're looking at the record, you're looking at some glaring mismanagements last year within games. I get it. I get it. Was it a fair chance for him with not having a hand? Maybe, maybe not. But that was a talented roster last year that did not meet expectations, in my opinion. And I thought the accountability went down dramatically with penalties and missed assignments. Dallas to Dallas. That's all we need to say. So I think that those are the main, and the offensive line is very much in flux. Without Ryan Jensen, people look at this offensive line and go, yeah, I don't see it. And that's a huge part of winning in this league. So if you don't have a coach, an established coach, you don't have an established quarterback, and your offensive line is iffy, that adds up to 3 wins. That if you're being completely objective. Now, I think that's from the out. Now, I have much more confidence in Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. I think he's a middle of the pack starting quarterback in this league. And if you combine a middle of the pack starting quarterback and an offense that's innovative and has some weapons and can, get into the 15, 16 area in terms of points scored, and a defense, which that's on Todd Bowles. He's got the talent and he's got the ability to make this a top 5 defense. And if he doesn't do that, then this team's going nowhere. So I get it. That's why I've said 3 wins wouldn't shock me. 11 wins wouldn't shock me. That's why there's a lot of
factors there. Yeah. And on top of it, did it help Baker's career out that you have, multiple offensive coordinators, multiple coaches? No. It doesn't help. We've seen that. We've seen that show before. It just does not help a quarterback's development at the end of the day. So I tend to be optimistic, maybe to a fault. I've talked about it before, but they still have talent on this team. The big key is the offensive line. Is Todd Bowles able to manage? You get in those situations and you don't want to throw an interception in the last 2 minutes because you're so conservative. Is that going to cost you games? Are you going to settle for field goals? Are you going to punt the ball? Are you going to depend on your defense at the inopportune time? Those are the things that you have to watch for that cost teams games. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's always turnovers. It's turnovers all day long. If you turn over the ball, more than likely you're going to lose games more than anything else because you're putting your defense into a bad situation. And then on top of it, you're giving the other team more momentum.
Absolutely.
You talked about national media.
Yeah.
Damian Woody.
Oh, yes.
From ESPN.
Yeah, let's play this.
Had this to say.
This encapsulates everything we've been talking about.
Here we go.
Look, I get it. Damian Woody is he's a good analyst, but he's not. I just don't buy that. I mean, he's a Tom Brady guy, obviously.
Yeah.
He played with Tom Brady. He's getting that's what he's gonna. But Damian, if you didn't pay attention, that wasn't Tom Brady last year. Okay, it wasn't him.
No.
So, I mean, will the quarterback play be better this year? I don't know if you can quantify it that way. Will they score more than 18 points a game? Yes, they will. Unless this offensive line is complete horse crap, they will score more than 18 points a game. But we'll look. There's a lot of unknowns. I get that. If you're going to be an analyst in this league, go with the knowns, the known quantities. It's hard to go against the grain and say, "Oh, the Bucs are going to win this division," like Sal Pal has said on our show that they're going to be in the fight for the division. I believe they are. So, we'll see. I mean, I think Damian Woody doesn't know that there's a defense in Tampa Bay. There are, we get to play defense as well. That's still a part of football last time I checked. So if you're just concentrating on, it's Brady to Mayfield, I get it. But that to me is a very naive and uninformed take.
I think it's a lazy take.
I
think it's been an overall lazy take all throughout this whole postseason. Well, they lost Brady. Well, they're not any good. Well, they weren't any good last year. So what's the difference at this point? Well, why weren't they good? Well, the Brady distractions. Well, we can't mention that because he's Tom Brady. We can't mention the fact that he had 25 and 9 and couldn't throw down the field, and the Bucs had less than 20-yard plays than the previous 2 years. You can't mention that because, again, it's Tom Brady. That's the problem. Let's tell the truth here. This is what we do on the JP Peterson show.
Yeah.
Let's tell the truth.
We told
here.
it all last year.
Brady was not good last
was
year.
Going on?
Whether the offensive line gave him time or not, or committed critical penalties at critical times, he was not good. He could not make all those throws that he was able to make.
He didn't want to get hit.
2 years, right?
He didn't want to get hit. You can't play quarterback like that.
And on top of it, you probably didn't even want to be there because he wanted to be with the Dolphins in the first place.
That's right.
And
all his teammates knew that, by the way.
Right, and he also had his mind set on the divorce and all the distractions going to
right.
That stuff catches up, and for me,
that's why that take is just so lazy.
Right,
it's a good word. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and hear from Baker Mayfield. I thought very interesting press conference yesterday from him once he's named the starter, and I think Baker Mayfield is a fascinating young man on so many levels. Watching his growth over the years. Again, if you think it's the old Baker Mayfield, get up to speed. Take a break here. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Hey, if you got any sterling silver at home, flatware, bring it into the Gold and Diamond Source. They'll give you cash money for that. Old jewelry, old gold jewelry, gold coins, whatever. Take it into the Gold and Diamond Source, and they will pay you cash money. And, of course, if you're looking for that engagement ring, it's the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up. They're going down. They're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act.
Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys joining us here. Peter Blake joining me here as our new producer here. We're working out the bugs. Don't worry about it. We'll get it all worked out.
Try not to kill me on air.
No, you're fine. You're doing fine, man.
I'm trying.
We have a whole new system that we're
Yes.
trying out here,
Yes.
trying to improve the show for you. So, we got to find out.
When there's fans out there saying, "Well, just go back to the regular thing." Okay, well, we could do that, and we could just go on our cell phones and do that, or we could evolve a little bit. And
Trying to make it a little bit better,
that's
bring
it.
some better video quality, some better video options. So hang with, we're just trying to be better. We're
That's
trying to be
it.
better, and there's going to be some growing pains. So we'll work through all of it. We appreciate you guys being patient, though.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I wanted to play the Baker audio from yesterday. I thought it was really revealing on a lot of different levels. Just a couple other notes here from our wonderful listeners out there. As far as Brady being, listen, I know we're talking a lot about Brady. We're not throwing him under the bus. He wasn't the only issue last year at all. That's not what we're saying. It was dysfunctional from the start, with Byron and not being on the same page as the head coach and expecting certain things from Brady that he wasn't able to give you last year, and everything being predicated on Brady. He's going to get all the blame, or certainly a lot of the blame and all the credit when they win a Super Bowl. So no, it wasn't, to me, it was a confluence of things, right? Let's start with a rogue offensive coordinator who was trying to do his best by Tom Brady, but not the head coach. So that all went haywire. Brady that was not engaged. And as I said many times last year, his superpower was always his incredible preparation and beating you with his mind. And he wasn't able to do that because of all the distractions going on around him. And losing Ryan Jensen up front, as that certainly gave him less trust in the offensive line. So yeah, there were a lot of, and Todd Bowles as a head coach in a situation that it was dysfunctional. So yeah, it wasn't just Brady, and the defense got poor at the end of the year, right? Because they got so frustrated that the offense couldn't do anything, and they were on the field all the freaking time. So yeah, it was that's what gets you 8-10 in a team that got steadily worse as the year went on.
Yeah. All right, so I want to go out to these Baker Mayfield comments.
Yeah, so this is Baker from yesterday as he's named the starter, and I just think some really interesting stuff. I think this is a really, really compelling character in football. I love the way he plays. I've said this from the very beginning. I've always loved Baker Mayfield. I love his grit. I love his story. He's always been the underdog and got into a dogfight, and he's always come out on top. He won a Heisman Trophy. I think, when you look at how his professional career has gone and the teams that he's been with, to put the blame on him, I think is ridiculous. So, I think this is a new start. We'll see how he does. I'm not sitting here saying that he's, an all-pro quarterback. I'm not, but I think he's an average to above average guy, and given the right situation, can win a playoff game. He's done it. I don't have to conjecture about that.
Right.
He's done it.
You're exactly right. All right.
Here's your starting quarterback, Baker Mayfield.
Appreciate it.
The sense that decision's finally been made and it's out there, and you can kind of move on and focus on getting ready for the regular season.
Yeah, I think now we're going to treat this real game week, like in season type. So just practice schedule wise with the carded periods and stuff. So yeah, it'll be nice to get 1 week under our belts until it's the real thing, and until we get rolling.
Baker, it's not a huge surprise, but can you just take us through when you were told, how you were told, and sort of, what that conversation was like?
Yeah, Coach Bowles came up to me this morning. He had told me that he had talked to Kyle already. Just informed me that we're going to roll with me, and just continue making smart decisions and go from there. So now just got to lead like I know how, and the real thing's right around the corner. So it's an exciting time.
Especially to be like, you've been a starter everywhere you've been, right? I mean, going back to walking on at Texas Tech and all of that, but to win something, they didn't just give it to you. You had to earn it. Is there an accomplished feeling that, hey, I had to go out here and win this?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal is always to be playing. So yeah, it's one of those things that when you look at, the big picture, it's one of those things you have to check off the box. So but now's the time to really ramp it up and go from here and start winning ball games that count.
Prior to today, in your mind, did you feel you had done enough to warrant winning that job?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I'll say this. I mean, our QB room has been playing extremely well this camp. Between John and Kyle, also just everybody pushing each other. So I can't say enough about those guys in that room that we have as a whole. The chemistry is great, but I feel like I was comfortable enough within the system, commanded the offense, and able to get guys in the right spots. And it's not saying anything against anybody else, but I just feel like I'm in good command of the offense right now.
You told us you thrive under competition, and just spoke about Kyle and John. Just how were those guys able to push you to be your best?
I think just offering different perspectives. Kyle's game is much different than mine. He can stand tall in the pocket, deliver it whenever he wants. And John, just his mental aspect of the game. He can eliminate so quickly and play so fast. So just trying to take certain things from those guys. It's just always great to have just new tools that you can add on to and learn from.
How much do you think that first preseason game going out, not only getting a touchdown, but having no turnovers helped to reinforce where you were in this competition?
Yeah, I think during training camp, you can look at turnovers. Obviously, taking care of the ball is the main thing, but it's practice for a reason. Trying to get timing down with receivers, trying to test certain things out, see what 50-50 balls, what guys are going to make plays. And so when it comes down to the game, it's time to take care of the football and be the quarterback you're meant to be. So I don't know. I haven't gotten the details, nor do I really care. Just going to roll with it now and go win games.
Baker, talk about playing football, the game you love, in your style, and just playing here in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game I always dreamed of playing. Wanted to play it since I was little. And just to being able to be on a platform now with a great franchise and to earn the job, it's an unbelievable feeling. You never want to take those for granted. I'm one of 32 guys that can say they're a starting quarterback in the NFL. So it's a special honor, living out a dream, but now's not the time to be satisfied. So, I think all of our guys are ready to push through this regular season and see where we go.
Baker, how far along has this offense grown? Where are you guys at now with less than a month to the regular season?
I think the growth has been tremendous. When it comes to the run game, I mean, you guys saw some of the screens and stuff we accomplished last week. Just guys are really understanding the objective when we call certain plays. What's the scheme we're trying to get accomplished, and they're executing it. So the improvement's been unreal. And so now it's just time to go out and execute and play fast. So we've learned the system. Now it's time to adjust on the fly based on coverages or defenses and just play fast.
Is this show a lot that we haven't seen, fans haven't seen of this offense? Todd had mentioned maybe that Davis been holding back a little bit. What really we're going to see in the the regular season?
Yeah, I mean it's tough when we're in training camp and probably the hottest camp in the country. Our receivers are always rotating in and out, so there's certain things that we'll have dialed up for Mike and Chris, and certain schemes that we'll have that, yeah, we've been holding back. We've talked about it, but we're not going to show that till we really need it. And that's the good part, though, is you do the simple and little things right, then you get to add in the fun stuff on top of that. So I think what we've done is great at the pace we've done it, the way Dave set it up to get everybody on the same page executing, and then you add in the wrinkles from there.
Baker, for the wide receivers, Mike and Chris are well established. We know what they bring to the table, but there's a huge opportunity for a lot of these guys with the unfortunate injury to Russell Gage. So everyone else has to step up. What have you seen from the receivers lobbying for that third wide receiver spot, especially guys like Trey Palmer that seems to always be making a big play?
Yeah, obviously unfortunate. You never want to lose a guy. But that's, when you thrust somebody into the spotlight, you see what they're made of. And so you see our younger guys that are fighting for that spot, as you mentioned. Rakeem Jarrett, Trey Palmer. Devin Tompkins has been making plays left and right. David Moore. Forget a few, but those guys are playing really well, and they're playing confident now. And so, and even KG, like he's able to come in and make a lot of plays for us when he's playing fast. So it's going to add a different dynamic to our offense that we're able to throw a young guy in there and not lose a step. Yeah, obviously Mike and Chris are who they are, but we expect those guys to go in and have success as well.
I know it's just the beginning for you, that the season hasn't even started, but considering the journey that you were on this past year, to be able to get to this point and be named a starter, is there a little more satisfaction? Is it a little bit sweeter because of that?
No, I expect to be the starter. I know how talented I am. I know what type of leader I am. Now it's time for the real thing. So we're about to have the real games, and everybody's excited here.
You've seen a lot of teams around the NFL just not play their starters this year during the preseason. You just got the limited time in game one. You're going to get a half this week. Is that enough to get teams ready and on into the rotation that you're kind of normally playing at a high level?
No.
Game speed?
Yeah, it's about how many reps you're getting in practice, how you're taking advantage of it, the extra conditioning on top of that if you need it. Yeah, it's the constant conversation, whether you play those guys or not. But if you're playing a lot, you're getting good experience. If you're not in, you just have to take advantage of the mental reps and talking through and over-communicating like we have been doing. So I love our play and how we've done it. And so I think we'll be ready to roll when week one comes around.
Can you share any encouraging words with Kyle Trask after finding out the news?
Not specifically, no, but those guys know how my standing on the QB room, how important it is for us to get along. I learned a quote from Ben McAdoo. It was no cannibalism. So we need everybody in there to be a part of it, and we're pushing for the same goal, to win games. And I've been in that spot that Kyle's in firsthand last year. So it's all about support. You never know when your chance is going to come, but you just have to stay ready and be the same guy for your guys every day.
Do you feel a need to say anything or just kind of let it play out?
We'll talk, but I don't think there needs to be a rah-rah speech. It's just some things are understood. We're pros, so we're going to move forward and handle business.
Baker, this is not maybe the time to bring it up, but I'm going to, so I don't want to talk to you. But there's been some actions, legal action on your behalf, trying to find out where $12 million went in a firm that your dad and your brother work for. Is that at all a distraction or a family dynamic there? Can you speak to any of that?
I'll say this. It's been a long time coming for that. I'm not going to comment on any details, but I've been dealing with that stuff for years now. So mentally, I'm in a much better headspace. So, we're ready to roll. Thanks, guys.
All right, Baker Mayfield right there. Your starting quarterback.
It's Baker time in Tampa Bay. How you feeling about that?
I feel just fine about it. Again, I think that he is the perfect guy for this offense. He knows the offense already.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, he has all this experience. So it's not like he's coming in here and he's going to be like, I got to prove this, I got to prove that. He knows what he's got to do. He's got to get it done. He knows that he's got to make better decisions. He's got to get it done. You also, as an offense, Dave Canales has to emphasize the run game. And if you emphasize that run game and take the pressure off of him, but he's still going to make some throws, and he's still going to have that gunslinger mentality. And again, it comes down to what? It comes down to the balance.
Yeah.
Right. It comes down to when you should do it, when you shouldn't. Are you going to be trying to throw in double and triple coverage? Of course not, because it's going to.
Listen, if he does that, he ain't going to play long. Canales has made it very clear that if you turn the football over, you're not going to play in this offense. So Jordan G, who, and by the way, we love you guys commenting back and forth and and the
We
debate
love
back and
the
forth.
interaction.
Absolutely.
It's good. That's what we want to do here. That's what we're
Jordan
trying to
says,
bring.
you get 20 touchdowns and 20 interceptions with Baker. I wish him to do well, but you already know what you're getting. That's completely unfair.
Right.
Go look at the numbers in terms of turnover-worthy plays, not just interceptions. If people latch on to those, and
Right.
I don't think it's fair. Trask will be the starter by October 15 coming out of the bye due to inconsistent quarterback play. You may be right. I mean, I expect the offense to start a little slow because the offensive line hasn't played together at all. It's just a new offense, a new play caller, a new quarterback. There's a lot of new. A lot of new doesn't win in the NFL, not very often. Seattle got it done last year under Dave Canales, so there is some hope there. New quarterback,
right?
New system. There's some precedent there that it can happen in this league, but we'll see. It's not the usual. I get it. And if Baker is that inconsistent, I don't want him to play. If he's throwing picks all over the place, I don't want him to play. So
right.
We shall see. I kind of love of all the options that were out there. Let's just be honest. We'd love to have Aaron Rodgers sitting back there.
Of course he would.
Of course. Would you like to have Tom Brady sit back? Not that Tom Brady we got last year.
2 years ago, previously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Of course he would. But
right.
That's not the way the league works with the options that were out there. I kind of like what Jason Light did. You go get a guy that I think has been miscast in a lot of different ways. When things have been right for Baker, like when the situation around, and by the way, any quarterback, look at Aaron Rodgers last year. He had his lowest quarterback rating of the year. I mean, he threw for, I think, fewer touchdown passes and fewer yards than he's ever thrown for in his career,
right?
Because he had new receivers, a lot of new around him. Even the best quarterbacks are going to struggle with new. So I think there's going to be a little bit of inconsistency early on for Baker Mayfield. That's the NFL. But
and which brings the
and he's been in a lot of these bad situations,
right?
11 different coordinators, different head coaches. When he had an offseason to get ready in Cleveland and a decent roster around him and some competent head coaching, they won. They went to the playoffs and won a playoff game and a good running game. I mean, that's I think what Todd Bowles is trying to replicate here for Baker Mayfield. And you want to bitch about Carolina last year? I mean, Matt Rule, are you effing kidding me? And then he goes to LA and wins a couple games in miraculous fashion, in my word. And that was, even the rest of the way there in LA, there was a lot of crap around him. The offensive line had completely disintegrated. I mean, the head coach is pretty much checked out. So, I mean, look at the situations before you start saying Baker Mayfield's trash. I mean, he's done a lot of good things in his career, and I kind of like this spot for him. We shall see. I'm not here saying he's going to the Pro Bowl. I just want them to get to about 24 points a game, and I think this team can win a division.
I just got to take a poll right now here on the JP Peterson Show.
Put it out there.
Do you think this team, this offense, can score more than 18 points? Yes or no? Put it in the comments right now, because if you think they can score more than 18 points a game, guess what? I think this team is a lot better than they were last year. And I think we could all agree that they're going to score more than 18 points a game. They're going to be better in the red zone. And then on top of it, the defense is going to be better because they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Because once again, you heard from Carlton Davis and also Tristan Wirfs. You remember, it's just not one guy. Everybody's thinking in that locker room, well, it's just one guy. It's just Tom Brady. You just talk about Tom Brady. No, they got more than that on this team, more talent. So put it in there right now. Do you think they're going to score more than 18 points a game on offense? We'll put that poll up on Twitter before I leave. I promise.
And that's the question here. It's not whether Brady was better than Baker Mayfield, and nobody wants to even utter those words, nor should you.
Right.
But will the offense score more points? That's what it's about.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's quarterbacking or who's playing where, or who's calling plays or whatever. Can you score more than 18 points a game?
You should be able to.
If they don't, then a lot of that will be on the offensive line and perhaps mismanagement of the offensive line.
Right. Mike Evans has had a great camp. You have Chris Godwin coming off an injury now. That's 2 years removed from a major injury, so he should be more explosive. Keep in mind, he had over 100 catches last year, over 1,000 receiving yards.
That's 75%.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's going to be 100%. So he's going to be that much better. And then you've got the unknown, right? Trey Palmer. Can he transition over? Cade Otton coming into his second year. Can he transition over? Rashard White. Can he get enough holes to run? How many times are you going to run him? 17 to 20 times a game? I think that's the recipe right there, in my opinion.
All right, we're going to hit another break here, our final break, and come back, get into a couple other stories that are floating around there, including one in IPF powerlifting. that I think was quite interesting. Shocking development.
Wow.
So we'll do that. We're brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you have an event coming up, maybe a big birthday, you want to do something big, Extravaganza Productions can do it all for you, audio, video. Plus, they have an entire warehouse of props that you got to check out. They'll do a free creative session with you. If you mention the JP Show, just contact them through the website, extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them I sent you. Head on down there. They'll show you around the warehouse, and they'll give you some ideas for your party or your charity event. They're the best in the business. I've worked with them for a decade. Extravaganza Productions. Back in 3. Old coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Rolling through some interesting topics today. Perusing my my Twitter, I'm talking to Peter on I'm just looking at all these video. This video from Hawaii, man, is just absolutely horrible. I mean, in so many ways.
Terrible.
And
I don't know what to say. I mean,
a wonderful president's visit was so well executed. Yeah, well executed. But it's weird as you look at all these homes that are just burnt to the slab, and then there's like these first responders that are looking at this video. They're like firemen that have gone to wildfires and stuff. And it's like, I've never seen a house burnt to the slab, but the grass around it perfectly green, or 7 houses burnt to the slab, and then there's Oprah's house that's not even touched. I'm not alleging any conspiracy theories there at all, but I'm like, how does that stuff happen?
Easy to do.
Like, how does that like wildfires? Normally, when they come through, they like just devastate the whole area. They don't like, oh, that grass is nice. I'm not going to burn that grass. Or, oh, that house looks nice. I'm not going to do that house. We'll just let that one alone. And it's just like you're looking at it from the air. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell happened there?
Start the conspiracy theories.
And there's like a total media blackout going on.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's weird. I don't know what happens in these things, but it's just weird. It's crazy.
You already said it. The masks are coming back.
Yeah, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I said there's colleges that have already put out their social distancing and masks and everything coming back for fall.
It's almost like
COVID-19 coming to a place.
Coming to a
everything we did that didn't work. Let's do it again. And suspend everybody's freedoms and ruin their lives.
You might as well, because Hollywood tries to remake everything anyway.
Yeah.
So go ahead and do it that way. It always works out.
Shocking development. All right, so here's an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
A huge win for Women International Powerlifting Federation changes policy after man dominates female competitions. The International Powerlifting Federation has changed its policy, seemingly in response to outrage generated by a male dominating female competitions, breaking records along the way. Male competitor Ann Andrus, who's 40, recently defeated all female competitors in the Canadian Powerlifting Union's 2023 Western Canadian Championship by lifting a combined score of 1,317 pounds, beating the second place finisher by more than 450 pounds.
Oh, there's no advantage there with that, right? No advantage at all.
Anders, who claims to have transitioned to a female 20 years ago, has broken multiple records since identifying as a female powerlifter in 2020 at 40 years old. Following the fiasco, female competitive powerlifter April Hutchinson spoke out against the record-breaking performance by Andrus. It's been very disheartening. Athletes have been chasing that for years, and we're talking top athletes who have been training. My boyfriend could basically walk in tomorrow, identify as a female, compete, and then the next day go back to being a man again. No proof, no ID required, just basically going on how he felt that day and whatever gender you want it to be. That was the current rule. Imagine that. That's the rule.
Okay.
And again, nobody has a beef with people that are transgender or moving to trans. We have a beef with people that are faking it to dominate with female competitions.
Right.
Which is obvious as Leah Thomas's appearance.
And then anybody coming out and saying, well, they don't have an advantage. It's an equal playing field. No, it's not.
It's ridiculous.
An equal playing field.
This is why we have weight classes in male boxing and MMA. Smaller people, less strong people cannot compete with bigger, stronger people in these type of events. And, it's all this ridiculousness that's going on and being part of it. And you can have your opinions on all that part of it. But when it comes down to competing in sports, you're completely destroying what women have tried to, through Title IX and other things, overcome for the past 50 years.
Right.
Not to mention the work that has gone into training the athletes have their entire lives to get to the pinnacle of their competition, to have some dude who transitioned last week come in there and say, I'm a power lifter. And then and people, IBF federations, the NCAA,
And how much weight was it?
and like large governing bodies going, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We don't want anybody to feel left out. We got to be inclusive. So if you're feeling like a girl that day, sure, come on over and lift some weight. Get on the bicycle. Jump in there. Sure, Hank. I mean, Henrietta. Sure, jump right in there. I mean, what are we doing? What are we? People like the NCAA with straight face. No, I'm sorry. He's allowed to come into your locker room and with all his genitalia there, and you have to. And if you don't like it, it's your problem. You're the problem, not him. I'm her.
Taking a moment of silence on ESPN, right, during a college broadcast. Let's have a moment of silence, like somebody died.
And by the way, I'm listening to the Baker Mayfield, and it's like, when was Kyle informed of this decision? Did you talk to Kyle? Is he okay? How are his feelings right now? And Baker's like, we're pros. Like, this is how it goes. He understands. We all understand. How's he feeling? Is he okay?
Sports competition.
Is he okay? Is he gonna be all right? Like in asking Todd Bowles is like, when did you inform him? Did you tell Baker first or did you tell Kyle first? How did he take it?
Can you remember being asked
like a
that
man?
like
I don't
25,
know.
30 years ago?
I'm not even allowed to say that.
Can you remember that, though, 25, 30 years ago?
No.
Can you imagine if you asked Bill Parcells that type of question? Can you imagine? Like, I don't like Bill Parcells.
I think Todd Bowles is in his head is going, are you effing kidding me? It's football. Yeah. It doesn't matter when I tell him or where I tell him, who gets told first. Like,
he's a player.
He found out on Twitter.
We need like you said.
What are we doing, man?
Was it?
It was so. I'm watching my my stepson yesterday play soccer, and the coach freaking loved his new coach. Some of the kids, they're running back and forth, and some of the kids are like, and he's like, if you can't run for 5 minutes, get the hell out of here. It's like, yeah, man.
Right.
You can't run for 5 minutes.
Right.
You're going to play soccer, and for 5 minutes, you can't run back and forth for 5 minutes. You're not even sprinting. You're just like running, half jogging.
I remember finding out all too well trying to play football. And look, everybody's not meant to play football. Going to my father and saying, look, this coach was hard on me.
Yeah.
The very next day, my dad took me to practice. He said, I want you to be extra hard on him.
Hell yes.
Extra hard on him.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to play football, get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him. That's how it was. That's how it used to be. I guess we've kind of changed. Everybody gets a participation trophy now.
Yeah, no good whatsoever. But getting back to this IPF story, they have now changed the policy, and even though the policy is not perfect by any, I mean, they're talking about testosterone levels and all this other stuff, and as Chris Lugo from Bay Area Modern Medical Center has pointed out, women also have testosterone levels. Their most prominent hormone as well is testosterone, which I did not know. And so manipulating testosterone levels is ridiculous. To me, look, it's pretty simple. Look at the birth. What were you at birth? All right. If you had an X chromosome or the Y chromosome, however the chromosomes work, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're competing. And if you don't like that, let's have a transgender
league. What's wrong with the league?
That's fine too.
What's wrong with?
I'm not trying to not include anybody.
Right.
What we're trying to do here is protect women and women's sports, which has completely been, and everybody says, well, there's not that many. It won't come into play. And I'm like, yeah, you're wrong. Especially when it comes to winning money and winning titles and doing these things. Yes, it's going to be more prevalent. More and more we talk about this. So and what about the rights of the masses of the people, the women in the locker rooms? It's like, that's not even considered.
Right.
It's not that nobody cares about what their rights are.
And it's like the women are shamed
right.
for stepping
even
out
speaking
and
up.
speaking
Riley,
up
look
for
at
it.
Riley Gaines.
Yes.
Look at Riley
I
Gaines.
know.
She's been absolutely vilified.
It's crazy.
And she put out a tweet on this. Said Riley Gaines said, "Great news. Couldn't be more proud and thankful for my friend and teammate in this fight, Lee Christina, for being resilient and unapologetic in her efforts to get this done. You and others like Coach Blade are to thank. Nicely done. Tweet for prioritizing fairness." And April Hutchinson, the power lifter, who's been a female all her life, by the way. A big win for women in powerlifting Canada today. The IPF has changed policy. It's not a perfect policy, but a step in the right direction. No more inclusion policy. See what we're speaking up can achieve. Yes, thank you. And we have to be more courageous. I mean, the longtime values that frankly have built this country are being attacked and vilified for a lot of different reasons. Look, our history is not perfect. We're not talking about, oh, we want to go back to slavery days and when women can't vote. No, that's effing stupid.
Yep.
And you're, even when you respond like that, you're showing how ignorant you are. We've come a long, long way in all of those things. And now we've gone so far overcorrecting, as we talked about Jason Whitlock's article yesterday. The overcorrection is the problem.
Right.
Like, and people are responding to, and just, I mean, look at our boy Oliver Anthony. Have you heard his anthem? Have you seen how this is taking the world by storm? Is people are longing, it's talking about having living in the new world with an old soul. It's chaotic. It's causing people a lot of anxiety. And I think we need to get back to a lot of the roots that made this country great and made our society great: honesty, integrity, family, the family unit, which we don't talk enough about. Athletes, don't talk a whole lot about the nuclear family. And
the family unit is messed up. That's the reason why you have, so many kids right now. You have so many things going on in this country because the family unit is so messed up. And with all these, great things of technology and people getting new jobs and being independent, there's a downside to that. Like you talked about, masculinity, it's a bad thing. Well, that toxic masculinity is what won wars in this country. That's
not
what
the toxic stuff, but masculinity.
Masculinity.
Yes.
It's not toxic. It's masculinity.
It's
not a bad thing.
Men are afraid to be men, and that's a sad, because there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things about being a man and being courageous and taking chances and taking risks and living, not a safe life. Safe as death, as Torts once said, right?
Right.
And we should be celebrating men who, like Jason Whitlock wrote the other day, like, you think these dudes that got a couple of flat tires on their wagons heading west who were going to quit and make sure everybody was okay? No, man, you pressed on. Even with your wife and your daughters in the back. No, we're going forward. We're moving forward.
Right.
And that's what it takes to do great things. What are we on this earth for if we're not here to aspire to do great things, right?
Yeah, I mean,
good people.
I remember trying to be a Marine at Marine Corps boot camp and failing the rifle range and having the recruiter or the drill instructor at the time, senior drill instructor, say, "Listen, you're going to take a 45-inch step forward." That's exactly right. He didn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but you do what you got to do. Take a 45-inch step forward and move on, recruit Blake." That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a rewarding excellence has become a taboo, because you don't want to hurt the feelings of the person that wasn't outstanding. I'm sorry. That's the way you reward great behavior. You reward excellence. That's the way we move forward in this life. So what made this country great. And as soon as, everybody gets a trophy and, what are your feelings? Like, how's Kyle? Is Kyle okay? Is he going to be all right? Didn't win the starting job? I mean, that's insulting to Kyle Trask, to be quite honest.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I think Kyle would say, "No, I'm a pro. I didn't win the job. I'm going to keep fighting, and I'll get my opportunity, and I'll be ready when I do."
He's been through this in high school. He's been through this in college. He's able to handle it. Why is that question even being asked? To sell stories, to get clicks. That's the reason why it is.
There's a certain.
That's what it is.
There's a certain expectation of people that this is the way the world should be, and it's like, no,
and
we're
if
good.
You're not like that, then
we're
you get
good.
canceled.
Yeah, it's called competition. That's why I'm a football player. You got to compete for your job. You either win it or you lose it. And when you lose it, you don't go sulk in the corner and need a day off, to get your mind right. I don't know. Like, I'm not quite ready to play basketball yet. My mind's not in the right frame of mind. I've got to,
Then you were never in the right frame
football.
of mind, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, can't play tennis. I'm not healthy mentally. Like, I'm all for mental health and getting it right, absolutely. But there's also something called mental strength and plowing through things and being mentally strong. That's also a competitive advantage. I don't know if we talked a lot about this yesterday, but Brandon Hagel. I don't know how much time we got left here. Brandon Hagel. I know a lot of Lightning fans are a little bit of like, that's a lot of money. 8 years extension worth total of $52 million, AAV of $6.5 million. Had a career high 30 goals, 64 points last season. Look, Brandon Hagel, I think they see a lot of Yanni Gord in him, a lot of Braden Point in him. And I think they believe that he's just 24 years old. He's just scratching the surface. And listen, if Julian Brisebois thinks that he's part of this core moving forward, I'm not going to second guess him. And from what I've seen, he hasn't been I'll say he's been spectacular at times. He's had some tremendous moments. But remember, folks, he's only 24 years old, and he's just starting to develop with the Lightning. So I don't have any problem with this contract moving forward. And when you look at the Lightning are set up with their core for the next 5 years, in a salary cap league where the salary cap hasn't gone up much, Brisebois has done as good as he possibly could do to keep this team together. You don't like to lose Killorns. You don't like to lose Landy Gords, but that's how the league works.
Yeah.
So, would we wish it to be better and keep everybody together? Sure. But that's not the way the league works.
The first thing you heard was, does this contract hinder them from signing Steven Stamkos next year because he's coming into unrestricted free agency? And by the way, I think the cap does raise up to $87 million.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Still, the Lightning and Brisebois are doing.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the answer there is we'll see.
Right.
And you got to secure your future before that Stamkos and Hedman contracts are done, in my opinion. So we'll see how it works out. All right. Thanks, you guys, for hanging in there through some of the technical difficulties. We'll get all that worked out. We're working hard to get it straightened out, so don't worry about that. My man's busting his ass, so don't worry. Little transition here from Nick. We'll get it done. But thank you guys for listening and looking in each and every day. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple and Spotify and our new YouTube page, FanStream Sports DSP Media. It's a new YouTube page. We'll be migrating over there, so you won't be able to watch it on the JP Peterson Show for much longer. Also on a new app, too. We'll be getting a new app, so download a new app, FanStream Sports app. Check that out in your app file, and we'll see you tomorrow.